There are many provisions in the brand new Secure Act 2.0 that was just passed at the end of 2022 that will be to your benefit and also helping you with retirement. So let's dive into some details and take a look at the Secure Act 2.0 and how it can benefit you, your family, and your retirement. The new act requires many 401k companies to automatically enroll you into their plan at a minimum of 3% of your pay. Now, this is to help you with retirement and to make sure that you have the retirement savings that you need for the future. Now, along those lines, if you are a part-time employee, this will also allow this new bill to have you be eligible for the employer-sponsored retirement plan earlier. So instead of 3 years until you are eligible to be a part of the plan, now it is a maximum of 2 years. So great news there. Now, the next part is that it does guarantee lower income and low wage to moderate wage workers to actually be putting money into their plan, and they may actually receive a $1,000 contribution from the government as well, beginning in 2027. Now, other items that this will allow are for people who are 50 years and older to actually have a catch up into their plan that is $7,500. But the new parts of this will allow those of you who are 60 and 63 to actually start putting more money away, up to $11,250 starting in 2025. So what you're actually seeing is that we have the ability to continue to keep increasing the amount of money we're putting away into retirement plans as you get older. Now, the next thing that they did was vitally important. The incrementally raising the required minimum distribution age from 72 to 75. Now, this original Secure Act back in 2020 raised the RMD age from 70 and a half to 72. Now, over the next number of years, it will be raised to 75 by 2033. So that's huge changes that are happening with that, and that allows you to keep more money in your retirement plan without having to take out the requirement by law. Okay, so those were with retirement plans there, but one other element that is vitally important would be with respect to your Roth 401k. And it's going to allow you to skip taking required minimum distributions starting in 2024. Now, this has been a provision as part of Roth IRAs that you do not have to take the required minimum distributions, but now as part of the Roth 401k, you will also have those that ability to skip taking those required minimum distributions. Now, there actually are going to be some other very beneficial parts of this as well, and it can allow you to roll over certain parts of unused 529 plan college savings into Roth IRAs. So this is going to be a change from previous times. So it allows you, instead of putting money away for the children if they don't need that money for college savings, to roll that money into something for retirement. Now, there's going to be other aspects as well when it comes to your retirement. Some of them pertain to annuities, like the qualified longevity annuity contracts, which actually are ones that are from your required minimum distribution IRA accounts, 401k accounts, and they can go into an annuity, and you do not have to be subject to those required minimum distributions from that account. Now, this is great that they expand the use of these annuities so that you can actually shelter away more money into them without that required minimum distribution. Now, another element of annuities is that those exchange traded funds, which are becoming increasingly popular, that you actually may be using, are ones that now can be used in annuities, especially variable annuities. So what you're starting to see is that there's a lot of changes that are happening, and the biggest changes to you are with respect to the Roth IRAs, the required minimum distributions, and how much money you can be putting into your overall retirement plan. Hey, it's Nathan Krampe, and I make these videos because you are likely very ambitious when it comes to your overall financial plan and wealth management. But you know there is more out there. You want to benefit your family and yourself by creating an impact with your wealth. Now you do that by learning about great opportunities. So today, we want to learn about the great opportunities available in the brand new Secure Act 2.0, what that means for you, your family, and your retirement. Enjoy. At the end of December 19, Congress passed the Secure Act, which really ushered in a lot of changes to retirement plans. Now, many of those changes were with respect to some of the things that you already are aware of. The stretch IRA provisions were modified and mostly eliminated. Retirement ages for required minimum distributions increased from 70.5 to 72. Well, there's been a lot of new changes that happened with the brand new Secure Act 2.0 that just came out at the end of 2022. Now, these will really have some profound impact on your retirement planning going forward. So what we want to do is dive into some of these details here as it comes to not only the new parts of the plan, but how you can be benefiting those in the new Secure Act 2.0 in your retirement, and how that benefits and changes your overall wealth planning. So let's start by taking a look at required minimum distributions. Upon basically the passing of the original Secure Act, your required minimum distribution was raised from 70.5 to 72. Well, that has changed yet again, and now it's going from 72 to 75 over the course of a couple years. So what this is saying is that you will have the ability to, basically depending on your age, take your required minimum distributions starting later. So it could be either 73, 74, or up to age 75 for the start date, depending on your age. So this is a massive change for many of you, because what this allows you to do is to plan for your required minimum distributions and to make changes on how you can work with your taxes, and having a longer ability to not only do Roth conversions, but also to plan how you're going to be taking those distributions to be most tax advantageous. So that's going to be a massive opportunity that you have coming down the road, and this is going to be implemented over the next decade. So it's not going to be right away, but it's going to be on an ongoing basis, again, depending upon your age. A couple quick notes about the required minimum distribution though. Now, that if you have already started taking your required minimum distributions, you will need to continue taking them. So it has no change for those of you who are already started. Now, the second item that you should be note is a qualified charitable distribution. And this does not make any changes to those QCDs. So you are allowed to start taking them. And if you were 70.5 and already started your required minimum distributions, you can still be making qualified charitable distributions as well. Even if you were 72 and started those, you can do them already. So this has not changed anything with respect to the qualified charitable distributions. It just changes the age in which you need to start. The next element we need to talk about then are Roth-related changes. Now, this is going to be something that is going to be very advantageous to you because it allows you to put more money away tax-free. So the new Secure Act 2.0 includes a significant number of Roth-related changes, and it involves Roth IRAs as well as the employer-sponsored plans. So think 401k plans as well. Now, these changes are going to allow you the opportunity to put more money away into these types of Roth and tax-free buckets going forward. Now, it doesn't restrict or eliminate any Roth strategies. So that's going to be something to absolutely be aware of there, that we're not eliminating them, we're adding to them, and we're creating a more broad spectrum of Roth IRA, Roth 401k, and different types of provisions that you can take a part of to help lower your tax bucket in the future. So let's dive into some of these kind of requirements now for the brand new Roth IRA accounts that have been created. And as we're talking about required minimum distributions and your Roth accounts, things have changed dramatically. Because let's say when we take a look at your Roth IRA accounts, those have not been subject to a required minimum distribution over the years. But basically, your other retirement accounts, your Roth 401k, your Roth 403b, your Roth 457 plans, those have all been subject to that required minimum distribution. And even though you are taking that money out and it's not taxable, it's a tax-free withdrawal, is still the fact that you are required to take those accounts out. But here's the thing. The Secure Act 2.0 did away with that. So no longer are you subject to those required minimum distributions from your Roth accounts. Now that's going to be a huge change for how you manage your taxes going forward. So no longer do you absolutely have to roll over your Roth accounts to an IRA, to a Roth IRA, in order to get these breaks. No, now you can decide if it's going to be more advantageous to keep some of the money in your employer-sponsored retirement plan or to roll it over into another plan that's going to be more beneficial. So again, you have greater opportunities and planning opportunities ahead of you. And that's one of the great provisions now with the Secure Act 2.0. So it makes it all a little more seamless to understand and also for your planning. But speaking of retirement accounts, the Roth has really only been part of your overall 401ks, 403b plans, IRA plans, but not anymore. We now have the ability to have the creation of a simple Roth account and a SEP Roth IRA. So traditionally these have been great for smaller employers that when you put money away into, say, a simple Roth IRA, you can start growing tax-free money. The same thing is true with Roth SEP IRAs now. So we have a difference of how you can be planning for your taxes. So especially if you are a small business owner and have one of these plans, it may actually be very advantageous to start putting money away into different areas. So you as the employer can get some very good tax benefits for putting money aside, which is tax deferred. So basically you're putting money into these plans for yourself and for some of your employees. But now they have the ability to choose if they want to be contributing to these plans with respect to a Roth type of a situation and account as well. Now that's also something with a SEP. You be able to do after tax contributions that go into the Roth, and it's going to benefit you personally in the future even more with respect to how you can be doing some tax planning. So what you're seeing here is, again, greater opportunities that are happening with retirement accounts, and it all comes back down to those Roths. So that's one element that you can be looking forward to now, is how to put more money away tax free. Another element with the Roth accounts overall is that employers are eligible for additional contributions that are Roth treatments. So the new Secure Act 2.0 has made more basically options for your employer and for you personally to be contributing to the Roth accounts. So now with the Roth 401k, the Roth 403b plans, there's again those additions of the Roth SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, all of those. Well, now what it's allowing them to do is to put more money into those plans and contribute more. And that is one of the great basically benefits that you have, especially when it comes to the contributions when you have catch-up provisions. So those of you who are 50 and older can now be putting more money aside into these plans. Now that, again, is a great addition to your retirement savings and planning, because for those of you who have not done enough in prepping for retirement, you can catch up and put a lot more money away in these plans. So that is definitely something to be considering here. And it's all comes back down to your eligibility, how much money you're making, and then what you can be putting away. So let's kind of dive into some details a little bit with respect to those and how much you can be putting into these new plans. Okay, so the first thing that you should know is that the new Secure Act 2.0 creates something of what they call a Rothification of your catch-up provisions, especially for high income taxpayers. So what this means is that for many of you who are making over those limits, which is about $145,000, that your catch-up provisions automatically are going to be going into the Roth portion. So be paying tax on that catch-up provision, but it's going to go into the Roth piece of the catch-up. And what that will allow, obviously, you to do is have more money set aside tax-free, but you also have to pay taxes on this. So this is a way of a balancing act for Congress here to have some taxes today, but also allow you to be putting more money away for savings and for retirement in the future. Another element of the Secure Act 2.0 is allowing 529 to Roth transfers. Now, what this will allow you to do is take a look at all of those funds that you have set aside for your kids, but since they may have not been needed, whether your kids have received scholarships or whether they have just decided not to go to school, a lot of times we have these 529 plans that are just hanging out there, and they could have 10, 20, 30, $100,000 in these plans that, as yes, it can be used for education, but now after a 15-year window of those plans being open, they can actually be transferred into the Roth IRA account. So what this will allow then is for you to plan for and save for your children's and your grandchildren's futures. But in the event something changes, you can now move that money back into your own personal retirement plans. So what this happens here is that the Roth IRA is going to receive the funds from that 529 in the name of the beneficiary of the 529 plan, and it must have been maintained for 15 years or longer. So there are some stipulations with this, and the contributions to the plan that has been within the last 5 years are ineligible to be moved to the Roth IRA. So again, there's going to be a lot of different elements for you to contend with here. But what this does again is allow you having the possibility of moving money from the 529 plan when no one else is going to be using that plan into a Roth IRA that can now be growing tax-free for you, your family, and for your heirs in the future. Now there are some maximums here. So generally with this plan now, there's going to be a maximum lifetime transfer of up to $35,000. So it's not going to be saying hundreds of thousands of dollars can be transferred in this manner, but it does allow for some great opportunities for you to plan for your children, for your grandchildren, but also still have the ability to plan for your own personal future if that money is not used. Let's dive into one element of the 529 to Roth plan that I want to make abundantly clear. When it comes to this transfer of that $35,000 maximum from the 529 into the Roth IRA, yes, it can be used for retirement at that point in time, but it really is intended for allowing the money to grow over time. So when it comes to that beneficiary account, we can be repurposing that retirement savings basically from education into retirement. Now, there's going to be a number of you that want to be using them for your own personal retirement plans in the future, but in the event of something like that, this technique is really going to be designed to prime the pump for your children and your grandchildren for their retirement accounts as well. So yes, even though there's going to be great opportunities for you and your family, it's really going to be the most beneficial when it comes to your children and your grandchildren, especially ones who are the account beneficiaries of that 529 plan. So again, you can be changing beneficiaries around so that they are really the ones that you want, but when it comes to making that actual transfer, it's going to be in the name of the child or the grandchild that you had the beneficiary established. Another new element is the new post-death options for a surviving spouse with respect to retirement accounts, and specifically beneficiary retirement accounts. So under the existing laws, there has been a lot of different elements that surviving spouses can take the retirement accounts from their deceased spouse. And one of those options would be rolling over that money into their own name as a beneficiary and having that basically be become their own account that they will be required to take required minimum distributions on. But starting in 2024, the new Secure Act is actually going to be extending the list of options that you have available to you with respect to these types of accounts. So as a surviving spouse now, the RMD, your required minimum distribution, can be delayed until you basically need to, until the deceased spouse would have had their scheduled required minimum distribution, or once the required minimum distribution is needed, you as a surviving spouse can calculate it based upon your own required minimum distribution uniform lifetime tax tables. So again, you have some different options that were not available to you in the past. And as a surviving spouse dies, so as you happen to pass away and those required minimum distributions have begun, the surviving spouse's beneficiaries will be treated as though they are the original beneficiaries of the account. So that's a huge change, because what that allows you to do is stretch the IRA distributions over their life expectancy instead of that 10-year window and rule that we had. So this is going to make some drastic changes again to the stretch IRA provisions, and this is actually incredibly good. Now there's obviously going to be needed some additional thoughts and processes surrounding this, so it's not all set in stone yet with the stretch IRAs, but to have it be this way that even spouses beneficiaries are eligible to receive that stretch provisions is a drastic change that is going to be bringing back some really good planning opportunities that you can be doing. IRA catch-up contributions will be indexed for inflation. Now this is something that when we have been talking about IRA accounts, generally there's a $500 catch-up provision for those of you over the age of 50. Well, that changed to $1,000 in 2006, but that was really the last time that we've raised these catch-up provisions with respect to retirement. But the Secure Act 2.0 is going to be starting to make incremental changes. So we're going to be starting to incrementally add $100 onto those catch-up provisions over the time that will be making sure that you're able to keep up with inflation. So go from $1,000 up to $1,200 and continue to keep increasing over the years with inflation. So your catch-up contributions, take advantage of them, and that will definitely help you to be setting more money away into your retirement buckets if you are over the age of 50. There are new rules for qualified charitable distributions, or what I call them QCDs. Now, under the original rules, you could do a qualified charitable distribution if you are 70 and a half and older and taking your required minimum distributions, and you could take some of those required minimum distributions and give them basically to a charity. And even though there's no charitable deductions, the money that you were giving to that charity was not subject to your adjusted gross income. So it's a way to lower your income while blessing the charities that you cared about. Well, there are a couple specific changes that have come to QCDs. Now, when we were talking about this historically, there was a cap on how much you could do over a period of time. But that cap was limited to $100,000. But the maximum amount now is going to change. And beginning in 2024, you will be limited to the first time ever being indexed for inflation. So that's going to mean that you have the ability to increase the amount on a yearly basis you could be gifting to charities from your IRA account and your qualified retirement plan accounts. Now, the second opportunity that you have with respect to QCDs is that you can use it for what you call split interest entities. Now, beginning in 2023, so now, very soon, you can actually take advantage of a one-time opportunity to use a QCD to fund a charitable remainder trust, as well as a charitable remainder annuity trust. So a unit trust and a remainder trust. Now, this is something that is vitally important when it comes to planning for your own income needs in the future and how you can be benefiting your family while gifting to charities. The new law also creates a linked emergency account just in case you need extra money. Now, historically, if you take money out of your retirement accounts prior to the age of 59 and a half, in general, you would be subject to a 10% penalty. But the new law now creates an emergency savings account, and this will not be having the same kind of elements as your retirement accounts, but what it will allow you to do is put money into these types of plans that can be used in case of an emergency later. And this can be linked to your retirement plans. So let's say such as your 401k, your 403b, so it can actually be deducting money from your overall W-2 so that you can actually be putting money away into an emergency savings as well. New relief for retirement account mistakes. You see, historically there has been a penalty if you did not take enough money out of your accounts at required minimum distribution age, and that penalty could be up to a 50% tax on the shortfall that you needed to have taken out. But no longer. This penalty will be changing, so that 50% goes to 25%, and if you are correcting this mistake within a window of time, that 25% may actually be reduced to 10%. So what you're already starting to see is that this is going to be a great opportunity for you to basically say, if something happened, a mistake was made, whether it was your mistake, your accountant's, or just something inadvertent, you don't have to have the penalty the way that you used to have if you get it solved in a timely manner. We've gone through a lot, but let's talk about one other element. Some of the things that were not in the bill. So the provisions that have not changed, that the Secure Act 2.0 did not change, that maybe you heard that it would, relate to things like the backdoor Roth contributions and conversions. So some of the things that have happened with respect to the backdoor Roth and all the changes that were thinking about being enacted did not make it into the bill. Now also new limits on who can make Roth conversions. That has not changed. Creating an basically a non-age based RMD. Well, that is something that has not changed either. Another aspect is changing with respect to the age of the QCDs can be made. That has made no changes either. Implementing new restrictions on business stocks and qualified small business stock. No changes. Eliminating new types of investments from being eligible to be purchased within your IRA account. Again, no changes. And correcting or clarifying the manner in which the 10-year rule created the original Secure Act could be implemented for non-eligible designated beneficiaries. Again, that was something that has made no changes. So those are some of the things also to be aware of, that there are items that you can still be doing, especially when it comes back to that backdoor Roth to take advantage of. Because you've made it this far in the video, I want to give you a special opportunity. You see, most people start but don't finish dealing with their wealth plan. But since you are different, I want to give you a special one-on-one consultation so you can be working to enhance your overall wealth plan with the new Secure Act 2.0 tax laws and how they can benefit you. So click on the link right below this video and you can be setting up a one-on-one consultation that is complimentary for watching this video, and we can be working on how to enact the Secure Act 2.0 into your overall wealth plan. For more tips and tricks on how to increase your overall wealth plan, click on this link right here. I'll see you there.